Let's talk about if statements. We're going to go through if statements, else if statements, and else statements. Quite a bit to cover here, but it's pretty simple to understand. So this is the basic syntax of an if statement. For an if statement, we have a block of code inside of it, and this is going to execute if our expression, which is the part in parentheses, is true. So I have x is 10. As long as x is less than 20, this will execute. If x, let's say, is 50, this will not execute. And that leads us to if or else statements. So again, like I said, if it's less than 20, it will execute. Otherwise, it's going to execute this block of code instead. And they're just printing statements. You could also have operations inside of here. So like if you wanted to reassign x inside of here, you could then say x is equal, if I get rid of caps, x is equal to 50. And so this will update our x from here as well, because it's referencing the same thing. That's our if and else. Let's look at nested if statements now. So you noticed how we have a statement here that's an if statement. We have that first parenthesis and then the last parenthesis right here. Well, we have block of code inside of here. Inside of this block of code, we can have this go to other parts of our code, or we can have other conditions inside of here. So notice I have this if statement inside of this if statement, and then I have this if statement inside of this if statement, which is inside of this if statement. So we can continuously nest them and perform operations. Otherwise, we'll fall into this else statement. You could also have else statements inside of here as well with these if statements, and you can also have else if statements in here. Well, what are else if statements? Well, else if statements are more conditions. So if we have more than, if we just want to say if x is less than 20, if we want to check for other things, we can say else if x is less than 15, or we can go with this else, just like normal. So it's all going to operate, but we have this next part in here as well. You can repeat this and say else if x is less than 10, and you can have an infinite number of these checking different conditions. This is great because it allows you to code many different things inside of many different cases that may execute depending on any input that's passed in. If statements, else if statements, and else statements are extremely powerful. If you have any questions about them, please leave them in the comments below, because you should understand these. These are super important. These statements and loops, very important. If you want more C++, check that playlist in the description. Just below the like button. That'll be all for else statements, or if statements, else if statements, the three of them. We'll continue more in the next video.